It's just business owners, so it's supposed to be some intimate. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting of the 77th Monrovia City Council this Tuesday, September 16th at 7:36 p.m. And we are going to start with our invocation by Pastor Karen Mastrogiovanni, immediately followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by our Mayor Pro Tem, Dr. Tamala Kelly. Karen.
Let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you for this day and for the opportunity to come and gather this evening in the beautiful city of Monrovia, a city known for its commitment to community engagement and collaboration. Thank you for the mayor, the city officials, the citizens, and everyone who has come out to participate in the city council meeting. We ask you to guide our thoughts and actions and to give us direction so this meeting will be filled with wisdom, clarity, productivity, cooperation, and a mutual respect one for another. As we put our hearts and minds together, we thank you for helping us to accomplish our goals for the good of Monrovia and for all who love it. We pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Please rise. Right hand over your heart and begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have roll call?
Council members Belden,
Here.
Jimenez,
Present.
Spicer,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kelly,
Here.
and Mayor Shevlin.
Here. We did not have any meetings prior to this, no report of a closed session, and so we will move on to our presentations and proclamations. I will indicate, and that's also kind of an order of business, we are adding a second presentation, and that will be a proclamation for the Hispanic Heritage Month. But we are going to start off this evening with our Pasadena Humane Pet of the Month. And Kevin McManus has a real cutie pie to share with us. She was licking my hands, just a real sweetheart this evening. Kevin.
Good evening, everybody. Well, I brought an adorable, sweet, wiggly puppy with me tonight. Her name is Boogie. She's actually 3 years old. And besides being adorable and cute, she's totally unproficient at all commands, which is a great. So she's got like a clean slate, which we cannot. You can't get that at most shelters. A dog who knows nothing, but she proudly has
She's
that
very,
badge of
very
honor.
friendly.
She makes up for any lack of wisdom with adorableness and wanting to get belly rubs. So she is available for adoption or foster at the shelter. We still have a lot of cats and kittens available for adoption. We've had a very, very, very busy kitten season. So we still have a lot of cats and kittens available. And one thing I want to mention that's coming up next month before I'll be back, we have Wildlife Day coming up, where we have a ton of vendors, talks, and programming. to talk about wildlife, including fish and wildlife, to talk about living with bears, which I know you all are probably experts at already, but if you want to learn something from Fish and Wildlife about their response. And that is Sunday, October 12th. So mark your calendars.
At what time?
It's 11 to 3, and it's free.
And that's at
the shelter.
At
Yep.
the shelter.
Yep.
And do you have to pre-register?
Nope. Just show up. We had about 500 people come through last year, so we're hoping for
Wow.
that many, and we've basically blocked off almost half of our space for it. So it should be really fun.
Great, thank you. And what's her name again?
Her name's Boogie.
Boogie.
Yes.
So just know that Boogie is available. Let's go down and take a picture with Boogie, and she'll lick you.
Dog lady.
She's a dog whisperer.
For any of you that have met my dog Ted, I don't think Ted would approve. But and he'll now smell Boogie all over me. Okay, then we are going to move on then to, we're adding PR2, proclaiming September 15th to October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month, and I've asked Sergio Jimenez to please present that proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month, which was enacted into law in August of 1988, is a time to recognize the contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans every September 15th through October 15th. And whereas those of Hispanic descent have been longtime residents of Monrovia since before the incorporation of the city, and whereas the Hispanic culture has embraced our community with a vibrant outlook on life, an enriched appreciation of dynamic art and music, and a life lived dedicated to loved ones, and whereas even through times of despair, as inequities and challenges divide society, the Hispanic community has worked to bridge the gap to build a future full of opportunity, anchored by faith and optimism, and whereas contributions made by individual Hispanic and Latino Americans and groups such as the Monrovia Latino Heritage Society have made an overwhelming impact on the entire community over the years through annual toy drives, art exhibits, and the Monrovia Community Center, and scholarships to fund educational endeavors. And whereas the City Council of the City of Monrovia recognized the rich Latino heritage in Monrovia by renaming Olive Avenue Park in honor of Lucinda Garcia, a longtime resident of the late 1880s to mid-1900s, who, through her generosity towards the disadvantaged, was considered a matriarch of the Mexican-American community for decades. Now, therefore, I, Becky Shevlin, Mayor of the City of Monrovia, California, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as Hispanic Heritage Month, and encourage all to celebrate vibrant culture and the many extraordinary successes of Hispanic and Latino Americans achieved to this day. Dated the 16th day of September 2025, signed Mayor Becky Shevlin. Mayor, I would like to, I know it's somewhat out of order, but I wanted to point out, since it's
Yes.
significant right now, we're going to have a celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month this Saturday at Monrovia Library Park from 12 to 2 o'clock. It's going to be arts and crafts. We're going to have a Mariachi Herencia Michoacana who's going to be there. So we invite all members of the public to share in this rich cultural heritage. And one last thing, today, this council meeting coincides in this proclamation with Mexican Independence Day, which is September 16th. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome, and we don't have anyone specifically to give this proclamation to, so we're asking that the proclamation be posted at our library so everyone can see the proclamation. Okay, then we have our student government representative, and we have on the published agenda, it says Jasmine Rodriguez. She was our last year's representative. We now have Elise Vathaana Dreg. Now, I might have totally butchered that. I really apologize, but we are so glad to have you, and today is your first report on behalf of the high school.
Thank you, Mayor Shevlin, council members, and members of the community. Good evening to you all. It is my honor to present this report on behalf of the staff and students at Monrovia High School. Our school year is off to an incredible start. We began by welcoming our new students to campus with our Link Crew orientation and the Renaissance Passport to Success on the first day of school. In addition, we welcomed our new administrative team and 20 amazing teachers to our campus. In week 2, ASB leadership celebrated Club Rush Week, where over 22 clubs and organizations showcased what they have to offer to our campus life. We ended Club Rush Week with our first rally of the year, where the school spirit was absolutely amazing. Later that night, we opened up our home football season with the Wildcats securing a victory against Brentwood High School, and the new and improved Cat City Pep Club was out in full force and was one of the most spirited games Wildcat Stadium has ever seen. This Friday, we have a game against Baldwin Park, where we hope to keep our win streak going. Monrovia High also hosted Back to School Night on September 4th, where parents had the opportunity to get to know their children's teachers and see what MHS has to offer. Homecoming this year will take place on October 25th in our very own Friendship Circle at MHS, and tickets are now available for purchase for A Moonlight Over Athens. As the school year carries on, we are committed to maintaining this positive momentum and are dedicated to building a campus culture that is spirited, inclusive, and full of pride. Thank you all for listening.
Well, thank you very much. Any comments from my colleagues for our new representative?
Now, good luck on Friday.
Welcome, you did an amazing job today.
Thank you.
And thank you. You're always welcome to stay through the meeting, but we understand you probably have some other things that you may need or want to do. But you're more than welcome to stay, but we understand if you have to leave. But thank you for joining us this evening.
Go Wildcats.
Yeah, go Wildcats. Okay, I don't believe we have any other items on our order of business that it will be taken. Anything else, just that added addition of PR2. And then we will move on to our consent calendar, which are items CC1 through CC8. They are all considered routine in nature and can be enacted by one motion unless someone needs to pull something, has a question.
I'll move for approval.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a
Second.
second? We have a motion and a second. Then without objection, then so approved. At this time, we are moving on to our public input. We have quite a few speaker cards this evening. And so this is your time, your opportunity to come and address the city council on any item not on our agenda. There are opportunities on all the agenda items if you want to provide public input, but right now we're taking public input for items not on our agenda, and we have 10 speaker cards. So you are allotted 3 minutes. So I will have Alice, our city clerk, she will announce your name, and if you could please approach the podium.
Thank you, starting with, is it Anna Gee?
Anna.
Or maybe Gil? Sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening, Monrovia Council members. I'm Anna. I'm from the Immigration Resource Center of San Gabriel Valley, and I came here tonight just to cover a couple points. One, that we wanted to add our voices to the call for a permanent memorial for Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez, the day laborer who was killed at the Monrovia Home Depot last month. And two, that we would like an update and more transparency on the CHP report regarding that killing, as well as more clarity on what the Monrovia Police Department can and cannot do regarding these raids, as well as to emphasize that the IRC is willing to partner with the city as we have with other cities, and we are grateful for the past and ongoing support of our organization, and we would like to see how we can take that further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Next is Ari Seha. Or Ali Seha, sorry.
Hi, my name is Ali. I'm a community organizer and I live here nearby in Duarte. I am here after 2 weeks and I am still organizing and at the Home Depot helping protect day laborers as well as other of my colleagues and peers that are even here today. There's about 40 volunteers, around 20 that are very active. And so we will continue growing. We will continue doing volunteer outreach to ensure that our SGV Defensa continues to grow because we, as community members, are fighting back against these illegal, violent raids that caused the death of Roberto Carlos Montoya. For me, it is extremely heartbreaking for our community members, very much as well, for the day laborers that have been terrorized. They have also been traumatized and they are still fighting every day for their lives. And so as a person, as a regular community member, I am here still asking for a response from the city council today that we asked 2 weeks ago. First, I would like to see this to continue to be on the agenda, or actually to be on the agenda for the next city council's meeting, because I do not see that today. And his death will not go unnoticed. He will not be dehumanized, and we will continue to remember him. We will continue to rebuild that memorial, even though it gets torn down every single week. We have been putting it up. It is now our third time. It's already down again. We will do it again. And so us community members, we're realizing what we can do. And so I'm asking City Council, what can you do for us? We were very specific and clear that we wanted a response of whether or not you will be joining us in putting pressure on the state to conduct their own investigation, an independent one, and we would like a response. Home Depot stated that they did not have their cameras on that day. Well, we don't know where their camera's on. Where is Roberto Carlos Montoya's cell phone? Because the family does not have that phone. Where is the person that run him over that day? Because he actually cared. He wanted to pay for the hospital bills. And we have no idea how to contact him. And the family would like to know, and we would also like to know, we would like a specific response of how and will you also be joining us in building a permanent memorial here in the city of Monrovia to show that you care about his family, where they can go and visit him, about community organizers that very much care about this issue, and about day laborers that are out there risking their lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Alicia Pardo.
Good evening. And
Good evening.
this is my first time ever. And it's nice to see people that I voted put a face. But I'm here. I'm Alicia Pardo. I reside at 326 Wild Rose. And I'm in support, as what Ali was saying. And I've been volunteering over at Home Depot. I wanted to get involved because it happened, within my community, and me as an immigrant, coming to this country. It was really, it just was touching, seeing videos and social media, and then when it finally happens in your community, it's just, it impacted myself, and I wanted to get involved, so I'm here to support with what Ali said. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sherry Lochner.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sherry Lochner, and I'm a resident here in Monrovia, and I grew up here. And my mother, Lorna Lochner, still lives here in the same house I grew up in. And I'm here this evening to advocate for day laborers and other people who are immigrants in our community targeted by ICE. As you would be well aware, ICE is continuing with their fascist unlawful practices of detaining and kidnapping people throughout Southern California and throughout the rest of this country. How does that make you feel? Are these the actions of a fair, just, and functioning democracy? My colleagues and I have reinstalled the memorial for Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez on Saturday for the third time. We will build it as many times as necessary. We would like to see a permanent memorial for Roberto to commemorate his life as a result of the brutal, unjust tactics of ICE. Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez was a beloved father, grandfather, and member of our community. He died while fleeing a reckless, unnecessary immigration raid conducted by Border Patrol agents who descended on the Monrovia Home Depot parking lot on the 14th of August, 2025. This is a place where day laborers gather every morning, including weekends and public holidays, in search of work, not trouble. These men are not threats. They are hardworking fathers and our neighbors. I stand here this evening because I and my colleagues refuse to allow the government to sweep his death under the carpet. Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez died as a direct result of unlawful ICE action that has no place in our community, indeed, in this country. The entire premise of storming a day laborer's site like the Monrovia Home Depot is rooted in criminalizing poverty and immigration status. These actions are unconstitutional, un-American, and undemocratic. Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez should be alive today. No one should die fleeing for their life from a government agency sworn to protect public safety. Roberto's family and our community deserve, at the very least, full disclosure into the circumstances resulting in his death. My questions for the City Council this evening are: 1. What progress has been made on securing the report investigating the circumstances resulting in Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez's death? 2. How can my colleagues work with the City Council to secure an appropriate site for the erection of a lasting memorial for Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez? And 3. Further to my questions from the previous council meeting on the 2nd of September regarding flock cameras, can the council provide the community with how that data is used? Specifically, is the data collected shared with federal agencies such as ICE and Border Patrol? And how much do these cameras cost? And finally, I would like to end with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Corinne Ramirez.
Hi, Corinne.
Good evening, Mayor Shevlin, City Council, and staff. My name is Corinne Ramirez, and I'm here to give a report from the Monrovia Chamber. We are welcoming 12 new members from the month of July and August. First is Century Sewer Services, Trivent Huntington Group, Monrovia Living Magazine, Pups and Cubs Premium Pet Food, IPX 1031 out of Arcadia, Pneumatics Athletics, Minuteman Press Monrovia, Charlie's House, So Boutique, Boba Box, Citibank, and Realtor Homa Saigon. Our upcoming events next week, Thursday, September 25th, in collaboration with the Monrovia Community Adult School, there's going to be a job fair. So if there's any job seekers out there that are looking for a job, please go online to register at Career Connect Monrovia The job fair is at the adult school from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you're interested, also a business that might want to participate as a vendor, please reach out to me or John Russell at the Community Adult School. That evening, we're going to have a tri-chamber mixer with collaborating chambers, Monrovia, Duarte, and Azusa. It's going to be a tri-chamber mixer at Santa Anita Park. It's $15 to register. And then on Tuesday, September the 30th, we have our Lunch and Learn from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at Library Community Room. The guest speaker is Lisa Cumes with Core Copywriters. The topic is 5 marketing mistakes business owners make and 1 fix that solves them all. You can register online. Members, it's $15, non-members, $20. And save the date for Friday, October the 17th. The Monrovia Chamber, in collaboration with the Street Fair, is bringing back the Business Showcase. That'll be from 5 to 9 o'clock p.m. in Old Town on the 700th block of Myrtle. And last, save the date for Friday, November the 21st, our community prayer breakfast from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Doubletree Hotel. If you'd like more information, you could always visit the chamber website at monroviacc.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne.
You're welcome.
Next is Dirk Beecham.
Good evening.
Good evening. Those are some pretty good comments. Whew. My name's Dirk Beecham. I'd like to, I like receiving this email I received yesterday from Mr. Nelson, a Monrovian citizen, because it made me feel I wasn't alone in some of the things I have observed over the past few years. I may add a few things here and there, but here it is. Dear Mr. Beecham, that's me. I will be at the September 16th City Council meeting. I will be beginning a series of public statements to the City Council regarding my experience with community media of the Foothills, known as KGM TV. Please join me as I discuss dozens of points of interest regarding my opinion on the mismanagement of taxpayers' money by KGM's Executive Director. These points will include the city's inability to deal with the KGM's money problems, including not following through on any action when KGM failed the most simplest audit of its finances, including not even conducting a basic audit of its inventory. I will specifically speak about the verbal abuse that you, Mr. Beecham, and other board members have suffered, especially at the March 2024 KGM board meeting, when the board simply wanted to know what the executive director was spending the taxpayers' money on. Instead of answering questions, he had his employees take turns launching personal attacks against you, which is me, and other board members. There's a video of this that will be shown at future council meetings. It is clear to me, from what I have seen and experienced over the multiple board meetings, that you were unjustly attacked and eventually locked out of board meetings for simply doing your job. And that is to see that the money and equipment don't just disappear. The executive director has never attempted to exonerate himself. Instead, he won't answer any questions he doesn't like and locks out board members who ask too many questions, and simply repopulates the board with people who will not care or are interested in the finances of KGM. Et cetera, et cetera. Sincerely, Mr. Nelson, community media supporter. I will end this by asking my own question. Why was there not a more thorough audit after the executive director failed the first one? Thank you.
Thank you.
Apologize for any mispronunciation. Tim Antgore.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen of the public, members of the City Council, I received this letter from Mr. Nelson, which I'm going to read right now. Dear Mr. Anetgor, I will be at the September 16th City of Monrovia City Council meeting, and I request that you please join me in support of the over 100 points of interest regarding community media of the foothills that I will be sharing. And in my opinion, the mismanagement of taxpayers' funds, donated money by the executive director of CMF, including certain nonprofit leadership and staff, as well as other enablers. In my presentations, I will be covering specific instances that I have observed regarding how you have been unfairly and even verbally attacked by the above-mentioned people at multiple meetings. I have witnessed at the March 2024 CMF aka KGM board meeting how multiple of the above-mentioned people launched personal attacks towards you for using your skills in meeting management and duties as the legitimate board chairperson, rightfully questioning the handling of funds at the nonprofit, thus fulfilling your duties as a board member and chairperson. Also, I witnessed up close how some of the above-mentioned people fed misinformation to city representatives about your motives as a board member and chairperson, knowing fully well that you were legitimately elected, in according to the bylaws and regulations. In fact, I remember and will attest to over a dozen specific personal attacks directly squared at you in an attempt to disrupt your conducting of the official proceeding. Many of those attacks were towards you and Mr. Beecham, of which there is clear video evidence I will be presenting. There were also numerous person attacks during subsequent board meetings that you conducted, all of which I will attest were factually dubious. I will be sharing screenshots of those attacks and submitting them as a matter of public record. It is clear to me from what I've seen and experienced over multiple board meetings that you were unjustly attacked, yada yada. I believe bringing these 100 points of interest to the council and public's attention will eventually enable the appropriate resolution of this salient mismanagement and clear your name and actions, which have so actively been maligned by the above-mentioned people. Since I have decided to go full on public with the information and facts as I know them, please feel free to share this as you see fit. Sincerely, Mr. Nelson. So in my personal opinion, it appears that the city manager and city council members are complicit in the questionable behavior of the executive director, and I'm looking forward to learning more about the 100 points mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patty Kelly.
Good evening.
Hi. My name is Patty Kelly, and I also received an email from Mr. Nelson, which I would like to share. Dear Ms. Kelly, I will be at the September 16th City of Monrovia City Council meeting. I will be beginning a series of public statements to the City Council regarding my experience with community media of the foothills, aka KGM TV. I request that you please join me in support of the over 100 points of interest I will be sharing regarding my opinion, the mismanagement of taxpayers and donated money by the executive director, certain nonprofit leadership and staff, as well as other enablers. In my presentations, I will be covering instances that I have observed regarding how you have been unfairly and even verbally attacked, in my opinion, by the above-mentioned people at multiple meetings. Specifically, in your case, meaning me, I witnessed at the March 2024 CMF, aka KGM board meeting, how multiple of the above-mentioned people launched personal attacks towards you for using your skills in bookkeeping to legitimately question the handling of funds at the nonprofit, thus fulfilling your duties as a board member and officer. Also, I witnessed up close how some of the above-mentioned people fed misinformation to city representatives about your status as a board member, knowing fully that multiple others served on the board in similar circumstances in the past. In fact, I remember a board member telling me personally she moved out of her Monrovia home, and I have factual evidence she has been tied to an Altadena address for multiple years. Also, I will be covering the city council, for the council, another board member residency requirement issues and how it was completely ignored by the city when it was called out that he apparently got onto the board without following the bylaws and procedures. It is clear to me from what I've seen and experienced over multiple board meetings that you were unjustly attacked and maligned for doing your required board director duty, holding an executive director accountable for salient financial mismanagement that, in my opinion, he has deliberately not legitimately been exonerated of. I believe bringing the over 100 points of interest to the council and public's attention will eventually enable the appropriate resolution of this salient mismanagement and clear your name and actions, which have so actively been maligned by the above-mentioned people. Sincerely, Mr. Nelson, I personally just have a question as to why it is that the executive director and his wife are the only people that have been allowed to have access to the financials, at least in the time that I was on the board and certainly before that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nelson?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Council. I'm acquainted with most of you to one degree or another. First of all, I'd like to categorically denounce political violence of any type, big or small. And we've heard some of that earlier this evening, and we've had a lot happening this last week nationally. I completely denounce any political violence, big or small. Emphasis on small. So I'm here to inform the City Council and viewers about the 100-plus points of interest I've collected over the past couple of years regarding the operation of Community Media of the Foothills, KGIM, which is in part a city-funded nonprofit. As I understand the facts I've collected, it is my opinion that there is mismanagement of funds by this organization, yet the city officials keep renewing its contract for community media services. There has been a lot of hand-waving and accusations regarding this, so sharing these points of interest and supporting facts will hopefully set the context to see how we all are going to work this out. I think we have all never been here before to this degree in this context, so may wisdom guide our way on this path. Why pursue this with the city and community media stakeholders when anybody else would have just given up and walked away? Not my problem. Because I want to bring grant money here, and I've worked years to do that, a lot of grant money here. And this work is blocked because I get questions of, well, why not work with the local city-funded studio? Okay, I've begun to state why already. I also want to help clear the names of those who I believe have been attacked with false accusations of wrongdoing that I will be able to show are factually dubious. This, I believe, needs to be done so we all can properly move forward, and put this behind us. So to get real and straight to the facts as I know them, over the next several city council meetings, I will be showing up to make public comments and provide a more condensed view first. Then I will be coming back giving a more detailed view. So the city council, when faced with these contract questions, can make informed decisions. And the public, when they vote for who they want on the city council, can make informed decisions. Let me see. For example, at the March 2024 CMF KGIM board meeting, there were ambush tactics used that I believe city leaders knew of in advance. And I have video proof of that I'll be sharing with the council. I can't make every city council meeting, but I will be here frequently because, again, I have over 100 individual points of interest to make sure the voters in Monrovia know that you all know them. I look forward to having my upcoming times of public comment to help clear all of this up with the facts as I know and am aware of them. Thank you for your consideration and your attention. To be continued.
Thank you.
Next is Wes Rudiman.
Good evening.
Another member of the public. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Wes Rudiman. I'm speaking this evening on behalf of Active San Gabriel Valley. We're a community-based nonprofit that's focused on supporting a healthier, more active region. 8 years ago, some of you may recall, the city of Monrovia participated in the largest Ciclovia or open streets event in the United States, connecting 8 communities from South Pasadena to Azusa to celebrate the Foothill Gold Line extension at that time. Today, join you to share an opportunity to once again connect with neighbors ahead of an auspicious moment in our region's history. Next year, the FIFA World Cup will return to SoCal after a 32-year hiatus. To celebrate the global event, Metro is inviting communities to submit concepts for open streets events. This is an opportunity to once again connect Monrovia with its neighbors. Still a concept, Active Streets, Foothills Family Football would be a smaller 3-city event connecting the communities of Duarte, Arcadia, and Monrovia. Once again, each community could have an activity hub featuring local groups, artists, and civic organizations, as well as family-friendly activities. And once again, as with the last event in 2017, point-to-point run could be hosted to kick the event off and engage the running community first thing in the morning. The San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments has already committed to serving as the lead applicant if there is interest among the 3 communities. And if the city of Monrovia would like to participate, a letter of support for the application would be required by October 2nd. If you or the staff have any questions about this opportunity, you may contact Sam Peterson at the SGV COG, or you're also welcome to reach out to me at Active San Gabriel Valley. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Next, Rob Lewis.
Madam Mayor, members of City Council, city staff, thanks so much for the opportunity to speak. I wasn't actually planning on speaking initially, but was so inspired by Wes Rudiman's comments, I wanted to add something. So I'm a Monrovia resident, parent of 2 kids at Mayflower Elementary. And thanks to city support, actually, we've been active in trying to encourage more kids to walk and bike to school. Our Walk, Bike, Roll event is coming up on, it would have been on October 8th because that's the national event. Unfortunately, somebody scheduled picture day at several of the elementary schools on that day, and we just can't have that clash. So we're going to have it on October 15th. I'd like to invite all of you to participate. Last year, our city manager joined us, and it was fabulous, as did Mr. Belden. But I would also just like to reiterate my support for what Wes Rudiman just spoke about, Monrovia's participation in the Active Streets event. It's been a long time since we've had one of these in Monrovia. My son, who's now a 5th grader, who rides almost faster than me, was a 2-year-old in a bike trailer back the last time it happened, and it rained. So I think we have ample opportunity to move beyond that. And I think that this would be a great opportunity for us to showcase how we are promoting active transportation, and also to join in with other communities in the region. I also would just like to, on a final matter, to thank the city for its ongoing work to improve active transportation and the work of Alex and his staff, and particularly the consent item earlier that you all approved, the Office of Traffic Safety grant for pedestrian and bicycle safety programming. I think that's fabulous, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes from here. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. We don't have any more cards. Are there any other individuals wanting to come before City Council this evening for public comment on items not on our agenda? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and provide your name, please.
My name is AV. To the council, to the public, hello. I'm just here to reiterate a call for the permanent memorial for Roberto Carlos Montoya. We demand a response issue to be included on the agenda. His death will not be unnoticed. We'll continue to put up his memorial as many times as necessary. And City Council, what will you do to ensure that this will happen? Will you join us in making sure that he will be remembered and remembered with dignity? So as a kind of memorial to Roberto, I'd like to just spit a little poem, a little rap that I wrote. We live in an ice age, a fate worse than death, an era of state terror in America, no less. Whether you be at work or your place of rest, the masked thugs snatch you up like they was possessed. Whether citizen or not, it's a sinister plot to round up black, brown, put us up in a box. Hell no, I call it like an ancient chant. They really putting us in concentration camps like the Jews. Fox News, they confused, now they let the fuse feel what they use to excuse their abuse. If anything, you the illegal. Y'all ain't native to shit here, terrorizing the people, trying to blind us with your patriotism. Pull up the blinds, all they find is hate and racism. But your evil is see-through, let your wickedness eat you. Demonstrations in the streets, may you never sleep peaceful. Thank you.
Any others wanting to address the city council on items not on the agenda? Not seeing any, then we will close that portion of our meeting, and we are going to move on to our reports of, we're going to our public hearing meeting. PH1, which is Amendment to Title 17 Zoning Code of the Monrovia Municipal Code, adding Chapter 17.38, Density Bonus, and Section 17.52.380 to the Monrovia Municipal Code, and deleting Section 17.44.020 from the Monrovia Municipal Code, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 2025-09. And we have our staff, Jennifer Driver here, senior planner, to make that presentation. Jennifer.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Tonight, we're presenting draft ordinance number 2025-09, which updates Monrovia's density bonus regulations to ensure our local code complies with state law. In this presentation, I'll walk you through why we need this update, what it does, and how it ensures that Monrovia stays fully aligned with state law while supporting the development of affordable housing. So, as you might recall, the sixth cycle housing element was adopted for the period of 2021 to 2029. It provides a plan for current and future needs of all segments of the city's population, and it outlines certain goals and procedures or programs to fulfill this to fulfill this affordable housing. One of the key programs in that is Program Home, or Program 1.3. In that program, it outlines a series of action items that the city needs to fulfill in order to meet these affordable housing needs for the city. One of the last remaining action items in this program is to update the state's or the city's density bonus code to align with state law. So as part of the housing element update in that program that I just referenced, other action items have already been completed, so we're well on our way to fulfilling this program. First, in 2022, we reduced the minimum unit size for multifamily units. Then in 2024, we removed the CUP requirement for multi-housing projects. And then we also established multifamily objective design standards. This year in February, we established a new ADU ordinance. And then most recently in June, we established an inclusionary housing program, which incentivizes the development of affordable housing. So this proposed ordinance codifies state density bonus law and formalizes standards already applied in practice. This is to promote the development of affordable housing to meet the minimum statutory requirements. It also consolidates all density bonus related regulations into one chapter in the municipal code. It includes the same key definitions, eligibility thresholds, procedures, and timelines as required by state law. It also creates one single affordable housing agreement that would cover projects utilizing both density bonus and inclusionary housing tools. And the density bonus ordinance ultimately aims to promote the development of affordable housing to meet our RHNA numbers for the housing element. So you may be asking, what exactly is density bonus? It's a state program that incentivizes on-site affordable and special needs housing by granting additional density bonus units, concessions or incentives to accommodate these units, as well as waivers or reductions of development standards in exchange for dedicating a percentage of units as affordable either at the very low, low, or moderate income level. Density bonus applies to projects that are for sale and for rental. The minimum size of project that needs to have to be eligible is 5 units. In the diagrams here on the right, you can see what a general implementation of the density bonus would look like. On the top, it's just the market rate development. On the bottom, it shows how the affordable units are kind of intermixed within the market rate units, as well as the additional units at the top of the diagram. So just to go over some key terms that I've used and will use for the remainder of this presentation. Base density is the maximum allowed number of units under today's zoning or the general plan land use element. Density bonus units refer to the additional units that would be allowed that correspond to the percentage of affordable units that are provided. Affordable units are those that we restrict through a covenant as very low, low, or moderate. They can also be called income restricted units. And then total units, as it relates to density bonus, is the base density plus the density bonus units. So the proposed ordinance implements the state-identified affordability thresholds and bonuses. They apply to the very low, low, or moderate income levels. The ordinance establishes the minimum requirements and the maximum requirements of the density bonuses you can receive. For instance, for the very low income category, if you provide 5% of the base density as a very low income, then you can get a starting bonus of 20%. In that same category, you can get a 50% density bonus if you set aside 15% of the units for very low income households. And then for low income, the requirements get a little bit stricter as you move up into the affordability levels. The minimum requirement is 10% in order to get a 20% increase, and then in order to achieve the 50% density bonus, you'd have to set aside 24 units or 24%. And then for moderate, it's the strictest. You would have to set aside 5% in order to get a 10% density bonus. And then to get the 50% density bonus, you have to set aside 44% of the base density. The ordinance also provides for additional density bonus opportunities for special needs housing, such as transitional foster youth, disabled veterans, homeless persons, or senior housing. The ordinance also includes the state-mandated incentives to provide the affordable housing on-site. This includes concessions or incentives, waivers, and parking reductions. Concessions or incentives are reductions to development standards such as height, setbacks, FAR, open space that must result in identifiable cost reductions. The number of concessions allowed per project does depend on the percentage of income restricted units provided. Waivers, on the other hand, are reductions from a development standard that physically prevent the project from being built at the permitted density. And then parking reductions, there's a universal reduction in parking for all density bonus projects that is based off of the number of bedrooms provided for that project. So just to kind of visualize what a density bonus project would look like and how many units equate to what. Let's say we start with the base density of 25 units. You want to set aside 10% for very low. This would equal 3 units. This corresponds to a density bonus of 32.5% or an additional 9 units. So starting with the base density of 25 units, you could achieve 34 units with 3 of them set aside for very low income households. And then again, diagram at the top, you can see how the same visual that I described earlier in the presentation shows the impact the density bonus could have. The state also offers a program for additional density bonus on top of the density bonus I just mentioned. It's called stacked density bonus. This is achievable once you've maximized the set-aside requirements in one income level. You can get an additional 50% density bonus. So let's just walk through an example. Starting with the same base unit or base density of 25 units, you want to set aside 15% for very low. That equates to a 50% density bonus. Then for the second stacked density, you want to set aside 15% for moderate income households. This also equates to an additional 50% stacked density bonus. So the base density of 25 units would result in 51 units, 4 of which are very low or are moderate income. And you may be wondering also how this ordinance relates to the requirements of the inclusionary housing ordinance that we recently adopted. So because the inclusionary housing and density bonus have the same core requirements, that is minimum of 5 units and either providing very low, low, or moderate income units. You can utilize the same units required for inclusionary housing in order to achieve a density bonus. You would just simply find the corresponding percentage bonus to the required affordability level based off of the project size and tenure. It's important to keep in mind that the required percentages for income restricted units are always applied to the base density. So just a simple walkthrough of the application process for a density bonus application. The application would be submitted with the first application for the project, which is it could be either ministerial or discretionary. Staff then reviews the application, calculations, and eligibility for bonuses, concessions, and waivers. Then the decision-making body, either the director, DRC, Planning Commission, or City Council, would make a decision on that first discretionary or ministerial action. And then once the project's approved, we would prepare an affordable housing agreement, which would establish long-term requirements for affordability that would be recorded prior to issuance of building permits. And the affordable housing agreement that is required, this may sound familiar as it's the same type of agreement that was required for the inclusionary housing ordinance. So this ordinance also provides an option or opportunity to consolidate this affordable housing agreement that is required for both density bonus projects and inclusionary housing projects into one section within our municipal code in order to streamline the application process and reduce redundancies. The requirements that we outlined in the inclusionary housing ordinance are the same as we are proposing now for the density bonus. The only thing different or added is the requirement of density bonus requests, including the concessions and waivers and requested density bonus would be included in that agreement. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Just to recap the history of this ordinance, we did go through Planning Commission public hearing on August 13th. Planning Commission did adopt a resolution recommending approval of the ordinance. And tonight, staff is recommending that the City Council adopt ordinance number 2025-09 to update regulations for density bonus in compliance with state law, and also find that the ordinance is statutorily exempt from CEQA. If adopted tonight, the next step would be to come back to City Council for a second reading, potentially on October 7th. I also want to note that we did receive one public comment letter prior to this hearing. After review of the comment letter from California Housing Defense Fund, the letter focused on stating that our ordinance was in conflict with state density bonus law, and our city attorney has reviewed our ordinance and the comment letter and has determined that this proposed ordinance is not in conflict, as stated in the letter. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Any questions
I've
from
got
our
a
colleagues?
couple
Thank you,
questions.
Jennifer.
What's the cost for the density bonus application?
The application and application cost has not been determined yet. It's something that will come back we'll refine internally.
Who's going to ensure that the affordable housing agreements are kept? That, for example, a landlord doesn't just, decide, I'm not going to follow this. Who's going to police it?
Well, every year, the property owner is required to submit income verification records to ensure that that unit is being occupied by an income-restricted household. If we have monitoring and enforcement policies already established in our ordinance, that would ensure that that affordability is enforced.
Okay.
That's number, Sergio, that's number 4.
Okay.
That's number 4 on the first. It's right up underneath the public, the planning commission public hearing.
Okay.
It's over in there.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing and request, are there any individuals wanting to speak either for or against or on behalf of this matter? And if so, can you please come forward? And I take it we didn't have anyone. Not seeing anyone coming forward to speak either for or against on behalf of this matter, then I will close that portion of the public hearing, come back to City Council and ask if there are no other questions or comments, can we entertain a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to introduce, read by title only, and waive further reading of ordinance number 2025-09.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we please have a roll call vote?
Council members Belden.
Yes.
Jimenez.
Yes.
Spicer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Shevlin.
Yes. And thank you very much, Jennifer.
We just need to read that title, Mayor. It's ordinance number 2025-09, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Monrovia, California, amending Monrovia Municipal Code Sections 17.04.080, 17.08.010, 17.08.020, 17.42.030, and 17.42.120, adding Chapter 17.38 and Section 17.52.30 to the Monrovia Municipal Code, and deleting Section 17.44.020 from the Monrovia Municipal Code, finding adoption of the ordinance to be categorically exempt from review under the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you very much. Then that will conclude our public hearing this evening, and then we will move on to reports of city manager and staff. And we'll start off with RCM1, City Council Directives Update. And as a part of that, I know that we had talked, in fact, at our last council meeting, we had asked, or we had indicated that we would track matters regarding the immigration matters, several things involving that. And in light of some of the comments that were made, if you could please address that.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. At this time, and as reported at the last meeting, both the city attorney and I, as well as several other representatives of the City of Monrovia, including council members, other departmental employees, are actively monitoring. As mentioned at the last meeting, we have put in a request to ask for copies of the California Highway Patrol report. They were conducting the investigation of Mr. Montoya's death on the freeway. Whether that report is something that will be made public either to us or to the public is not, we don't know. We are continuing to reach out to our counterparts. As you all know, as the council knows, the public may not. Our city attorney is a consulting city attorney with the California League of Cities. Also in just city managers forums tomorrow. The area city managers will be meeting. We're actually hosting the Immigration Resource Center to present to us on matters pertaining to immigration in the area. So there's just a lot of information and sharing of knowledge at this point. We'll continue to follow up with City Council and report as we have additional information.
And as you and I discussed, that matter will continue as long as there's information available to us, or we will continue to track that on our directives.
Correct. What continues to be very difficult is at this time, federal agencies, state agencies are not sharing information with the city. So we'll continue to make the requests, and if at any time we're able to report on information that has been shared, we'll certainly do so.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything else? On
I
your
do, just a
directives?
couple items, but I want to make mention, it's sometimes odd to see some of Monrovia's finest and one of our case managers come into the meeting room, and so I don't want anyone be alarmed. They're here for a wonderful presentation. We're really excited for them to share and report on SGV Care and the success that that's been. So real briefly, I want to highlight a few other details. Southern California Edison will soon begin the LED streetlight retrofit across Monrovia. Nearly 60% of the streetlights will be converted to LEDs. What's taken several years for planning and really waiting our turn in the queue will soon take place over the course of 15 working days. Crews will begin installing LED lights. We call these the Monrovia Special because we asked for the light color that comes out of the lights to be very specific and something that at the time Edison was not providing anywhere in Southern California, and they started offering this light to the city of Monrovia and other cities as well. So we expect that to happen sometime at either the end of September or into the middle of October. But that work will happen very quickly. And at this time, they are only performing the 60% of the lights owned by Edison. We're trying to work with the same contractor to perform the remaining 40% of the city-owned lights. Mountain Avenue is looking smooth as it has in a long time. We appreciate everyone's patience and understanding as we've gone through the road work at that stretch of roadway. We'll finalize the project, that portion of the project here soon with painting curbs, and we're shifting all of our staff and operations down to Peck Avenue, where we'll continue Peck from Duarte Road all the way to the southern terminus of the city, including portions of Myrtle Avenue. Also, a section of Bob Street will be included as part of that project. Finally, I'd like to share with the public, and we'll include this in City Manager's Update and future publications on Tuesday, September 30th at 7 o'clock. We'll be hosting a small event at Look Cinema where we'll be celebrating the Route 66 mural, the completion of the Route 66 mural on the East Huntington pedestrian bridge, as well as a KGEM production titled An Ode to an Old Road, a Route 66 story, which highlights Route 66 history here in Monrovia. And we'll make sure that everyone gets an invitation. We look forward to showing that. And with that, that's my report this evening.
Mr. Fink, could you reiterate? I'm almost positive you covered this under your report last meeting, but it had to do with the flock cameras as to the actual purpose and what they collect and where that information goes. But I just wanted to reiterate that because it was brought up that we hadn't shared that information, and I believe we did. But if you could just clarify that.
Yes, correct. For several years, the city of Monrovia has utilized what are called ALPR cameras, so automated license plate reading cameras. I believe our first purchase was in 2022. State law governs how cities can use these cameras. The cities also that use them also must adopt protocols and rules for how we use the cameras. They perform pretty much a singular function, which is identifying license plates as they pass through, as they pass by the cameras. So there's no facial technology. We're able to identify a vehicle as it goes through. And so vehicles that are wanted for law enforcement purposes, the city of Monrovia is able to obtain that information and use it for our law enforcement purposes. We've used it during active cases, and it's been a very, very successful tool. What was reported at the last meeting was there are flock cameras used at the Home Depot site. Flock is a company that offers their services to not only public agencies, but also to private companies that use it for CCTV purposes. So at the time we had shared, we're not aware of specifics on how Home Depot or any businesses in the area are utilizing cameras. We're just aware that the city of Monrovia does not have any flock cameras, or we have a secondary company we work with called LVT. We do not have an LVT camera in that area. So any cameras that are on site do not belong to the city of Monrovia. I'm not aware, the city of Monrovia does not share our information with federal agencies. This information is used by our law enforcement team while they're conducting active law enforcement operations.
Thank you very much. Any questions of our city manager?
Can I just add one
Oh,
piece of
okay.
information to
Yes.
that? I don't think we brought up at the last meeting. State law requires, or required that before we started using Flock or any other license plate reader cameras, the city council held a public hearing and adopted a policy for the use of those cameras and the information that is gathered. City council did that prior to deploying the first camera, and the city's policy is available on the website. It's been on the website. I believe it's on the police department's website, and has been there since those cameras were deployed.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we have RCM2, our SGV Care Program update, and we have Police Captain John Donchig, who is going to give us some very good and exciting news.
That I am. Thank you, Mayor Shevlin. Thank you, council members, city dignitaries, department heads, and all Monrovians here or at home joining us. I would very much like the opportunity here to share some information and an exciting update on the SGV Care team. For anyone who is unaware, the SGV Care team is the San Gabriel Valley Crisis Assistance Response and Engagement Program. It's a regional initiative that was started by the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, the COG, to provide alternative 911 responses to nonviolent mental health, behavioral crises, and substance abuse crises. SGV Care here in the city of Monrovia operates out of our Community Policing Bureau, which consists of Community Policing Sergeant Damian Bartholomew, School Resource Officer Jasmine Holguin, and Substance Abuse Counselor Tara Hohola, all of whom are here with me tonight, as well as Community Policing Officer Thomas Montez and LCSW Lisa Gutierrez, who unfortunately could not be here tonight but are here in spirit. Here we go. That's better. The program preliminarily launched in 2022 and went fully operational in February of 2024 and offers alternative solutions to problems that have been in our community forever but were never quite solved. We offer de-escalation, behavioral assessments, and connection to follow-up care for individuals who are experiencing distress, particularly those experiencing homelessness and substance abuse disorders. Whereas prior models here in the city relied solely on police intervention, disproportionately resulted in arrests or mental health commitments. SGV Care's multidisciplinary approach, its ability to spend longer periods with individuals, and consistent engagement in both preventative care and follow-up contacts with individuals in need has drastically reduced the number of arrests related to homelessness or mental health commitments by double digits since its inception. To illustrate, we have a little bit of statistics here. Since, well, let's say it's roughly 18 months, roughly a year and a half, we've encountered 367 unique individuals in Monrovia, done nearly 400 follow-ups, and provided 174 follow-up resources, which include things like basic needs, but also elder support resources, housing assistance, housing resources, mental health resources, and substance use and recovery resources. We have some quotes from community members here who have been touched by the SGV Care team. They are heartfelt and well-deserved by our team for the work that is being done. You exemplify all that Dr. Smith mentioned that social workers should do when working with mothers and parents of adults with mental illness. Just wanted you to know that I'm making some progress interviewing therapists. M, and in case everybody doesn't know, we're using pseudonyms here for privacy rights, seems to be getting less agitated, as I mentioned the other day. You have been tremendously supportive of M, and I remain appreciative. I felt that you were as concerned about my well-being as his. I hope you are doing well, and thank you again. Another testimonial. Thanks again for your phone call today. You have this way of making me feel special and loved. I look forward to getting the therapy appointment and will let you know. Please take good care. And finally, thank you for the drink. Not what it sounds like. It's funny how when you're on the street and stuff, or when you're without the funds to do things, you forget how good certain drinks are, how much fun it is to shop with another female, or the little things in life that bring you joy. You made my day today, and I appreciate you a lot. And finally, this longer anecdote. In May of '24, the team met with a mother who was worried about her 17-year-old daughter, who was unfortunately addicted to alcohol and drugs. She was weeks away from graduating, and it seemed she may not get there. The team was able to talk to her, to get her resources and get her through that period in her life so that she will forever have the memory of being able to walk at her high school graduation. But this anecdote also shows us all and reminds us all that very often these problems are long-term. They can rarely be solved with one intervention. The SGV care team continued to follow up with this individual and with her family and learned that she'd gone through another rough patch, which is not unusual in these circumstances. However, the team was able to once again intervene, provide resources and support to the family, and get just one step closer for this individual to a longer-term solution to the problems that have been plaguing her. And while this is just one anecdote of many, it shows exactly what this team brings to the city of Monrovia and our ability to impact people like this. And as a result of many such anecdotes, I'm very proud to announce that the community policing team and SGV care team is the current recipient of the Los Angeles County Peace Officers Association Centurion Award for Team Excellence in Community Policing, an award which will be presented to the team late next month down on the USC campus. And we will all be in attendance to support them and to show how much we appreciate their work. So kept that as brief as I possibly could, while also sharing with you how excited we are and proud of them we are, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have to the best of my ability. Or I'll just punt it backwards to somebody else who.
Well, do any of the rest of your team want to make any comments?
I don't think so, and that's why I'm standing here.
Well, I just want to say thank you so very much. And I know we all wish that we could even have more hours of the program. And who knows, in the future, maybe that would be made possible in preparation for this evening. I did ask the San Gabriel Valley COG, I said, I wanted to confirm, I know we have funding for at least another 3 years. And they're also starting, I know our program is under LACADA, but they're also starting a few teams with Sycamores, the Sycamores.
Interesting.
And
Didn't know
that's
that.
going to be with Doherty team, and also the possibility, this hasn't come about yet, but the possibility, especially with cities that are connected, that maybe possibly they could share teams if they're not, engaged in Monrovia, they could be in Doherty or something. But that's a goal. And I know we've got our Department of Mental Health team that comes on Fridays. The SGV Care is Monday through Thursday. And yeah, it would even be greater if we had it, on the weekend. We can always hope and pray, and it would be great. But just thank you so very much. At the first feedback that we got, that the COG got for Monrovia's involvement in the program, I had no idea. It was at a homeless committee meeting. It just blew me out of the water. They were singing our praises right and left, and how we had just jumped in there and just embraced the program. And it was very nice and very proud moment to hear all that. But thank you again for everything that you do. And anyone else would like to comment?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you guys for all the hard work you're putting into this. I know it's not easy. I know it's a hard task, with some of the people that you deal with, and I just want to thank you.
Thank you for the words, sir. Appreciate that.
Tina.
I wanted to say that
Tara.
we have to keep in mind that it's such a short time that all this has been accomplished, less than a year, and to see those numbers and to see not just that an award was received, but the hard work and the training that had to go behind the scenes to start something from scratch. Not only did you manage to do something from scratch, but to carry the heart of the city, and that's the care. So I really appreciated that, and I appreciate all that what you're doing, and even reading. I was reading as you were talking, The Last Antidote, and how the young lady went to AA, and we accompanied her to those meetings. That's over and above as it relates to care and assuring that people get what they need. So I'm just really proud of the work that is happening for those that need it the most in our community. So
I'd like to say that a lot of times we don't appreciate our police due to things that we see in the media. Law enforcement is often portrayed in a negative light, but here you're showing that you care individually for every person in our community, and you're making the extra effort, as was said, to even accompany people with needs to an AA meeting. That makes all the difference in the world, and you're saving lives. Maybe it doesn't make the headlines, but you know, and the community knows that you're making a difference in the lives of everyday Monrovians. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And referring back to one of those anecdotes, it's something as simple as just taking somebody to the store and going shopping with them, having a human moment with somebody who may not have had one recently, makes a huge difference in people. And that's the work that they're doing back there in community policing with SGV Care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the tremendous work you do. It's, I think it's just one of the things we have in Monrovia. We're always so lucky about so many things, but one is just having a police force that cares about the community, and we care about you, but you see it in these actions, and we all know that you go to work to help save lives, and this is just some tremendous examples of the lives you're helping to save. So thank you so much for doing that. We
No,
really
thank you,
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And thank you for the team being here, even though you didn't want to get up there and talk.
It's not for
Jamie,
everybody.
I can see he's hiding there, over there in the corner, but I also wanted to mention Richard Snyder.
Yes, Lieutenant
As
Schneider,
well, that he was on board when it first started in Monrovia. And I just want to thank all the officers and everyone involved in the program for really responding in the spirit of the program and really taking it to another level, because there are other cities that have been involved, but they did not take advantage of all the services, and so they squandered their opportunity.
And our police captain, we don't want to forget him, because
Oh, no,
he's
no, no, no.
very
Yes.
instrumental in
Yes.
making sure that
Yes.
this went
Yes,
forward.
all of you, the whole team.
It was important for everyone to be on the same page, pulling the cart in the same direction to get this to work. And that's probably something that we should be the most proud of, is that we all jumped on board, so to speak, and saw the value here and made it happen.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking it to the next level.
Has the second Citizen Academy started yet? It is?
That's right, we're 2-3 weeks in?
You want to go again?
Fourth week tomorrow night.
Oh, okay,
All right.
good, good,
All right.
that's good.
How many did you end up with?
18.
Wow.
18.
Wow. Wow.
It was a big class.
Very good.
Councilman Spicer wants to go through it again.
Again.
That'd be number 3.
Yeah.
No, I don't play that.
Well, again,
No
thank
doubt.
you very much, and I understand there is an awards, it's in October, isn't it?
At SC.
Yeah, we'll share it's going to be at the end of the month of October. We'll make sure the council gets an invitation. We want to go celebrate not only the work of our police department, but the many people who have been working hard on this program that aren't here in the room today. So we'll make sure that the council gets a chance to go.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. See, we can see you now.
Speech.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night. Okay, then we are going to move on to reports of city council members, and I will start off with, Mr. Spicer's got his notes right out there.
Okay,
in front, so
no
we'll go-
problem.
We'll go with
I'll start off with the Fountain to the Falls. We want to thank everyone who joined us for the return of the Fountain to the Falls. And after a 5-year break, we welcomed over 200.
6 years.
Okay, 6 years. After a 6-year break, we welcome over 283 participants. It was a joyful morning cheering on all the runners and reconnecting as a community. Also, the fall class registration is now open with a wide range of programs available. We've also launched a new system to make signups a lot more smoothly. If you need help, the community service team is ready to assist. So if you need help, don't hesitate to contact the community center anytime. Also, last week, I was able to be a part of the fire department who led a heartfelt ceremony honoring the anniversary of September the 11th. We thank all who participated in recognizing the lives lost and enduring the spirit of our first responders. And finally, before we show a transit update and video preview, there's a video I would like for everyone to see. It's called Building Safe Crossings, and it has to do with the goal line, whether you call it the goal line, the A line, the blue line, whatever. It's the goal line. It'll be fully operational this coming Friday after 12 o'clock. Riders can now travel, well, they will be able to travel from Pomona to Long Beach without transferring off of the light rail. Let the movie begin.
There are points along many railway lines where the train tracks must cross established roadways and streets. These train crossings are often the most vulnerable areas along a train route and must be carefully designed and built. Depending on the needs of the specific intersection, grade-separated crossings are sometimes utilized to move a train over a roadway on a bridge or under it through a tunnel. But much of the time, train crossings are built at grade or at street level and require installation of a variety of safety equipment to stop traffic from entering the intersection when a train is approaching. This video will provide an overview of the safety features being installed at street crossings along the Foothill Gold Line light rail extension from Glendora to Pomona, where light rail trains will cross at street level. In the beginning of train safety, there was little more than an X-shaped sign called the crossbuck to indicate the presence of a railway line across a road.
All railroad crossings should be approached with extreme caution. Speeding trains present a potential danger.
This was later supplemented by flashing lights and ringing bells which could alert crossers of a coming train long before it would be visible. But because warnings are not always heeded, entrance gates were installed to actively prevent cars from entering a crossing. However, this system leaves room for impatient drivers to snake around the gates and does nothing to prevent pedestrians from crossing. By installing 4 gates that cross all lanes of traffic and pedestrian gates that stop movement at the sidewalk, intersections are more securely locked. And should there ever be a problem at the intersection, like a stalled car on the line, sensors embedded in the crossing stop the exit gates from descending while sending a warning to the operators of approaching trains. The Foothill Gold Line Construction Authority will install not just the latest in crossing protection, the quad gates and pedestrian gates, but also the tried and true crossbucks, flashing lights, ringing bells, and traffic signage at all of the at-grade crossings for the new light rail system. This animation illustrates the steps that take place at a typical intersection as a train approaches. Here, a Gold Line train moves eastbound on the track, approximately half a mile away from the crossing. As the train reaches this point, a sensor built into the track detects the train's position and initiates a sequence of events at the upcoming grade crossing. The traffic signal changes from green to yellow, and then yellow to red, knowing that the train is on its way. After about 5 seconds of signal red time, the train crossing lights begin to flash, and bells begin to ring, the first visible sign that a train is approaching. The entrance gates then start to descend. As you can see, while the entrance gates go down to stop street traffic, pedestrian gates also descend. This stops all traffic from entering the intersection and crossing the tracks. To allow vehicles additional time to finish exiting the intersection, the exit gates are on a slight delay from the entrance gates. Once both the entrance and exit gates are fully down, the intersection is locked. The lights continue to flash, but the bells stop ringing to reduce noise at intersections near homes when a light rail train approaches. By now, the train has moved closer to the intersection. As it approaches, a quacker is sounded twice by the driver to provide a final warning before crossing the intersection. Once the train passes and clears the intersection, all gates immediately go up. The lights stop flashing, and the traffic signal turns to green. These same safety features were used in the completed sections of the Gold Line from Los Angeles to Pasadena and Pasadena to Azusa, and have helped the line maintain its excellent safety record since it began operating in 2003. This crossing is in the middle of a residential neighborhood and has all of the safety features we just described. Here comes a Gold Line train traveling toward the street crossing. To watch other videos about the Foothill Gold Line project, visit www.foothillgoldline.org. You can also stay connected by following the Foothill Gold Line on Facebook, Twitter, and the iwillride.org blog.
And that concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Larry. Edward?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It was a really, really tremendous event. Fountain Falls, I had a lot of fun. It was my first time being able to participate, and I'm looking forward to the next round. But obviously, the staff and all city groups and organizations just did a tremendous job organizing that and making it a really tremendous event, even though they were up at like 4 a.m. helping us set up. So great job. Thank you all for that. This past Saturday, I had a chance, along with the mayor and a few other folks, to go and join Green Care Day from Food Ed. Great opportunity to go and give back at many different park sites and school sites here in Monrovia. I was at Lucinda Garcia Park with some of the other folks from Monrovia Parks Wilderness Recreation Foundation, and just stopped in as well at MHS, many of our alma mater, to see the work they were doing there, the new garden they're building out there at that site. Great work. And it does really, of course, plant some great seeds in our community. And they do a lot of good outreach as well, Food Ed, to our local school kids and teaching them all about the benefits of growing food. I know that Wes was here from Active SGV. I do think that's a great opportunity for us, so I hope we can support that Open Street event and the opportunity. I think it's pretty early stages, so there's a lot of chance to help plan that, but it's a chance for us to at least participate in an event with Arcadia and Doherty and celebrate the World Cup and bring a lot of people. I mean, I think I was talking to somebody about this recently, but a lot of folks come to these different events. They bring their families. It's something that Monrovia, we do really well all the time, is have these events where families can come and celebrate in a safe space, and that's exactly what these events are. It's families coming more, and importantly, they bring their pocketbooks and they stop and they hang out and they buy a lot of food and drinks and support the local community and local economy as well. So I think it's a great opportunity to showcase all of Monrovia, what we have offered to a lot of our neighboring areas, and I guess celebrate the World Cup at the same time. So what's not to have and to celebrate for that? I'm sure many of you will probably bring this up, but I think we all have said this numerous times that hate has no place in our community, violence has no place in our community. Free speech is kind of the bedrock of our country, and I hope we can help encourage that and do not support hate in any which way. Thank you so much for your time.
I did want to just piggyback on something that you said too about those types of events. There is an event coming up on November 2nd, not in Monrovia, but it's through the Council of Governments, and it's the Corazon del Valle Open Streets event. And so we can help promote that, not in Monrovia, but another event to get out of your car and walk the streets in a good way. Sergio.
Madam Mayor, thank you so much. Monrovia's historic identity plays a major role in distinguishing it from other communities. This past weekend, the Aztec Hotel in Monrovia celebrated its 100th anniversary. It's been called the Queen of Route 66. The tenants being the Dulce Cielo Bakery, as well as Mr. G's Cuts, celebrated by offering discounts on their services to bring attention to this beautiful hotel. And I want to thank the businesses for reaching out to the community. This is a nationally recognized historic structure, and by promoting the 100th anniversary, they're really celebrating a big part of Monrovia's history. I also want to invite the community this Saturday. Monrovia Rotary is having their casino night, and the theme this year is Rock and Roll is Here to Stay. That's this Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Monrovia Community Center. Tickets are $75 per person. That includes a wonderful buffet, a live band, a casino, and as well as raffles and much more. I won't describe the drinks that are going to be available there, but that it's always a great opportunity for Monrovians to come together. That's this Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Monrovia Community Center right here on Palm Avenue. I also wanted to praise our first responders. I had the honor of being at the 9/11 ceremony. It's a remembrance ceremony. It's been 24 years. That's how much time has passed. It just seems like yesterday we could all remember, I think everybody in this room, when it happened, where we were, and how we found out about it. It was a solemn ceremony. It was a celebration, but at the same time, bittersweet moment. And it was an honor to be there. I want to thank our firefighters and our police, city staff, our city manager for being there for that recognition. I also attended the Fountain to the Falls. It was a very successful event. We had an uninvited participant, a bear that showed up at the top of the falls. But it's a recognition. There was, by age groups, there was a gold, a silver, and a bronze awards that were given out. And I want to thank the sponsors, the Empower, Sealy Strength, Lead the Way Fitness, Chick-fil-A, and most of all, the city staff who was there, as was stated, at 4 a.m. setting up. Thank you for doing that. Without city staff, it would not have happened. It ran very smooth. And finally, I want to say that violence should not be the American way. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing more every day. We need to look back at our better angels ourselves. Kindness, tolerance, and free speech. If you don't agree with somebody, that's fine. But violence is not the way. And I just want to close with that. Ask yourselves, what kind of America do we want to be? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
And Tamala.
Thank you very much. I feel a little, reaching over here. I feel a little out of touch. I was sick for the past 10 days or so, but I am here and I'm excited to represent the library. There's some wonderful things happening at the Monrovia Library, my favorite place. And here we would like to invite everyone to join us at the library in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. I was at the event last year, and when I tell you, we will be hosting a fiesta on Saturday, September the 20th, from 12 to 2 in Library Park. And last year, it was amazing. Dancers came from different communities. It was beautiful. It was an amazing celebration. So I do want to encourage you, even if you don't have children, to come out on Saturday. It's a beautiful, beautiful celebration. We will have performances and activities for the whole family. Believe it or not, fall is upon us. Did you guys know that? Have you gotten your spice lattes and all that good stuff? Okay, well, we're in fall, guys. Don't worry about the weather. We are in fall. Join the Old Town Advisory Board and the Old Town Merchants on Saturday, October the 11th from 10 to 2 for our annual Fall Fest. There will be a lot of activities for the family. Trackless train rides. Dylan, I know that's your favorite, right? The train rides? No? Okay.
Kids.
Hay rides is for kids. Hay rides and even a dog costume, Becky. Okay? A dog
I'll have to
costume
bring Ted and Winnie out.
parade at 12. I know that's your thing. In addition, the fire department will be hosting their annual fire prevention open house at Station 101. That's all of my announcements. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yes, I was able to join Sergio and Larry for that celebration on our remembrance.
I
on-
forgot one announcement.
Sure.
I wanted to advocate for the Fountain of the Falls for there to be a category
For us old ladies?
70 plus so that there are people that are there will be able to, I mean, that's a big deal. 6 miles, how many miles? So whatever, but that's a big deal. So I want to advocate for a section for those guys.
Thank you very much, Tamala. And if you didn't get obviously she was talking about me and a few others. I really did think they had a category of 70 and older. And then when they didn't hand anything out, I went, what? And so I said, hey, for those that were in attendance that went on the walk, come forward. We had a little group picture. And so it's really fun. I think about I recovered nicely, except I don't think that my big toenail on my right foot is going to make it. But at any rate, if that's the only thing I have go wrong, I was just very happy to participate. And again, thank you to all the staff to make that happen. And it was very special to have that bear on the actual trail. He just got right up there on the trail and blocked the traffic going up and down. So he, I'm sure, impacted some of the performance times on that. I did want to also mention, last week I was got a last minute call from the Brookdale, and we went last year, and I know Edward was there, but Florence Roy made it another year, and she celebrated her 104th birthday. And so we were trying to kind of kill time until they were having some kind of entertainment. So we were trying to ask all sorts of questions. So then they started going through the list of how many are 80, 90s, and 100. And there are quite a few of them that have either already reached 100 or almost there. So I'd asked for a list. They haven't given it to me yet of the ones that are hitting 100 plus, so that we can make sure to honor them. So, in fact, there was one woman in particular who wanted to keep on telling me that she was turning 100 on this last Sunday, but she didn't want
She didn't want to say her age.
So at any rate, but very, 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 that was a very nice opportunity to go and wish her happy birthday again. And again, I also participated in Green Care Day, and there's one bed in particular at the community garden that's right there in the corner of Colorado and Madison, at any rate, and the weeds just grow like crazy in that thing, and we really attacked them again. So, but I'm sure they'll be back. But had lots of fun pulling weeds, and then ran over to the earthquake preparedness program that was put on by the MOHPG, the historic group. Very good information. I've been to many of those sessions, and even though you've heard it before, the real important part is when you walk away from there, you actually do something to become prepared. I've done little tiny bits, but we really all need to remember to be prepared for that next earthquake. And we heard some things about an early warning system, and it's not, when you say early warning, it's literally you might get seconds to maybe up to a minute, but every second does count. And the 9/11 ceremony was very nice, and I commend our police and fire for continuing that memorial. Let me see. I wanted to highlight Kiwanis is bringing back the Taste of Old Town Sunday, October 26th. It will be from 5 to 8 in our Old Town there on South Myrtle. And tickets are available I know at least on Eventbrite. There's probably some other places that you can get tickets, but they are available on Eventbrite. So be sure to come out. That is a real signature event. We haven't had it in quite some time now, but it is coming back and really looking forward to it. Nice, great food, great company, great music. So at any rate, I'll do an announcement, or better yet, I'll have a Kiwanian come here next time and give the announcement. Right, Judy? They'll be prepared. I did mention, I do believe in our last meeting that I'm very involved with the Los Angeles County, some of the homeless issues, and in particular La Casa, which is actually the county version of a housing trust. And they were proposing they've yet to finalize their guidelines, but they were proposing a 20% minimum on legal services that would be taken from, that had to be budgeted from some of the monies that flow through the COG. Actually, that portion of our money, $9 million, would be subject to a 20% minimum. We're still going to have the 20% minimum, but we at least fought so that monies that were not spent could be reallocated if not spent. And that was a real fight. It's still not 100%. There's a recommendation to the board to approve that, but there was actually in that meeting a very strong request from a legal nonprofit wanting 30% of the money and no reallocation. So we felt we had a win to at least have a possibility of reallocation, because the name of the game is to do what's best for the tenant or the person in keeping them from falling into homelessness, not having to pay, no offense, Craig, not to have to pay an attorney. So, and then at our next meeting, we will have a visit from the COG president, Ed Reese, and he's going to come and give us a little update and status on everything that's going on in the COG. So we look forward to his visit next meeting. And with that, that's all I have for this evening. And then we are moving on to administrative reports. AR1, intention to order the formation of the Monrovia Citywide Lighting, Landscape, and Parks Maintenance Assessment District, number 25-1, and levy and collect assessments. And we have, I believe, Ray Bowman is going to be presenting for us this evening on this item.
Perfect. Excuse me. Okay. Thank you so much, and good evening, Mayor Shevlin and members of City Council. Thank you for your time this evening. As Council is aware, we've been reviewing information related to our assessment district since February of this year. We've held several study sessions, and tonight's presentation is a milestone for the many months of work by Council, staff, our engineering partners at NBS, and the City Attorney's Office. This evening, I'll be providing the final steps regarding the proposed Monrovia Citywide Lighting, Landscaping, and Parks Maintenance Assessment District. So tonight I'll provide a brief recap of our existing districts, provide a high-level overview of the engineer's report that was prepared by NBS, present the assessment rates for the 5-year phase-in period, and provide an update on the timeline and next steps of the Prop 218 balloting procedures. This evening, we are seeking City Council's approval for the items listed in the last bullet of this slide. This includes approving the engineer's report, mailing of notices and assessment ballots, setting the time and date of the public hearing, adoption of ballot procedures, and exhaustion of administrative remedies, and providing authorization and direction to the city manager to cast ballots. As Council will recall, and as a brief recap, An assessment district is a special area within a city where property owners agree to pay assessments in order to fund specific improvements that directly benefit that area. The city currently has 2 assessment districts, the Parks Maintenance District, or PMD, and the Lighting and Landscaping Maintenance District, or LLMD. These districts have been in place since the 90s, and although the PMD allows for annual CPI increases, the LLMD does not, and assessments remain unchanged for over 30 years. Because costs have increased over time, assessment revenues have not kept pace, and as such, the city has been subsidizing the shortfall of over $1 million per year, and costs continue to go up. As you can imagine, doing this over the span of the last few decades, the deficit has grown, and that's why we're doing this now. As background, we've been working with NBS for over 2 years to evaluate and prepare the information for the proposed district. The proposed district is also one of the last remaining items in our fiscal resiliency plan, ensuring that funds that should be self-sustaining can support themselves, which we started talking about in 2018. Staff and the City Council met for multiple study sessions between February and April of this year to discuss the proposed solution to the deficit. And that solution is a new combined citywide assessment district that fully covers the costs of maintaining the district. During those study sessions, City Council reviewed the preliminary analysis from NBS and provided direction to move forward with the proposed district. On April 15, the City Council provided the direction to phase in the proposed assessments over a 5-year period in order to reduce the financial impacts of the rates on property owners. The direction was that if we have to do this, let's do this in the least impactful way. And on September 2nd, Council approved ordering the engineer's report, and staff worked with NBS to incorporate the 5-year phase-in period and the most current property roll data. So the next few slides will cover a few key points from the engineer's report and the final documents with updated information. I did want to note that if the proposed district does pass, the 2 existing districts will go away. Okay. On this slide, I wanted to provide a few key points about the engineer's report. State law guides how the engineer's report should be completed. Article 13D requires that assessment districts identify the properties that received the benefit, separate general versus special benefit, calculate each property's share of the benefit, ensuring a fair methodology, and lastly, that publicly owned parcels need to pay their fair share. As Council will recall from previous discussions, the city is responsible for costs related to general benefit, which refers to the overall public benefit to the broader community rather than to specific parcel owners. The general benefit for the district is 19.33%. In short, property owners will only pay for the special benefits for their property, and the city pays for the general benefits. The city is also required to pay for its fair share of the special benefits on city-owned facilities. There are no exempt properties in this proposed district. As we've previously discussed with Council, the assessment rates were designed with the following benefits in mind: street lighting, traffic signals, trees, landscaping, and parks and recreational facilities provide the benefits of the following: improved safety and accessibility, improved aesthetics and livability, as well as increased economic activity. NBS evaluated these benefits and designed rates by factoring in lot characteristics and land use classification. And each parcel is assigned special benefit points, which factors in land use and lot size to determine the proposed assessments. Based on Council's direction from previous meetings, NBS completed the engineer's report with a 5-year phase-in structure. Each parcel's assessment will have 2 components. The first is the administrative allocation rate per parcel, which is this top row on this table. This covers administrative costs for the district. The second is the special benefit assessment rate per special benefit point. And I did want to point out that these rates represent the maximum rates for the 5-year phase-in period. After the initial 5 years, these rates will be subject to an annual CPI increase not to exceed 4%. And as a note, even though these rates represent the maximum assessments that the city can charge, annual engineers' reports will still be required each year, meaning if costs go down, the assessment rates charged to the property owners can be lower than these rates. The rates for the 5-year phase-in period do take into account a CPI inflator to ensure that the rates keep pace with the increasing costs to maintain the district during the phase-in implementation period. As we discussed previously, residential properties with less than 5 units make up the majority of parcels. Provided on this slide are some bullet points about our residential less than 5 units classification, which makes up 82% of the parcels in the proposed district. 93% of these parcels are expected to see the following increases by the 5th year, with the largest group seeing an increase of up to $300 by fiscal year 3031. That's a full phase-in. However, for the first fiscal year 26-27, the average assessment rate for this category of parcels is about $140, which is an average increase of approximately $57 from their current rate. This slide includes an overview of the proposed district's cost, which is shown in the top row. The city's general benefit requirement is shown on the second row, and then the net cost of those two numbers is the third row. The fourth row shows the proposed assessment revenue that we expect to collect, and then the row at the bottom shows the city subsidy. So the city will subsidize costs for the next 4 years during phase-in, and the proposed assessments are estimated to fully cover costs for the district by fiscal year 3031. I did want to note that the revenue collected in the first year, 26-27, even at 50% phase-in, is more than we are currently collecting for the existing districts. This slide includes a timeline for the proposed district. Between September and November, staff will focus on outreach. This will include utility bill inserts, information on the city manager's weekly updates, and a webpage dedicated to providing information for the community. We'll talk about informational material on the next slide, but by September 26th, public notices and ballots will be sent out to property owners, so please keep your eye out for that. And on November 10th is the deadline to submit written objections as part of the exhaustion of administrative remedies process, which is the process of formally submitting a substantive objection for the proposed assessment. November 18th is the date of the public hearing, and all ballots must be received by the close of the public hearing. Because the following day, on November 19th, the city clerk's office will count the ballots with the assistance of NBS, and if need be, tabulation can continue to the next day, November 20th, with the declaration of results scheduled for December 2nd. And again, if the proposed district does not get approved, the existing districts will remain in effect. With that, I'd like to show all of you what property owners can expect in the coming weeks. As previously mentioned, September 26th is our mailing date for public notice and ballots. That ballot packet will include a few things. First, property owners will find a parcel-specific fact sheet. That's this colorful document on the left-hand side of your screen. And on it, property owners will clearly see what their current assessments are for the existing districts and what the proposed assessments would look like for the 5-year phase-in. Each property will have a unique flyer, and in that envelope, there will also be a notice of public hearing that lets everyone know that the public hearing is on Tuesday, November 18th at 7:30 here at Council Chambers. That's that middle screenshot. And of course, the official ballot, which is the sheet on the right-hand side, will be included as well. So what do our property owners need to do once they receive their ballot packets? Well, we're asking them to review the information, including the fact sheet, which provides a lot of additional information. The proposed assessment amounts will be on both the fact sheet as well as listed on their ballot. We're asking that they clearly mark one of the squares. Yes, I'm in favor, or no, I'm opposed. We're asking property owners to make sure they sign and print their names on the ballot and enclose and seal it in the provided return envelope, which can be mailed back or handed in person, sealed to the city clerk's office. And it must be with the city clerk by 6 p.m. on November 18th, or it can be turned in at the public hearing on the evening of November 18th. As a note, ballots will be weighted based on the proposed assessment amount. So $1 of assessment counts as 1 ballot weight point. We also want to make sure that property owners have easy access to their information, and that's why the ballot packet is robust with a fact sheet. But in addition to this, we're including inserts in our utility bills between September and October that provides high-level information about the proposed district and lets property owners know to keep an eye out for their ballot. The community will also see information in the upcoming city manager updates, and we also have a web page launching tomorrow dedicated solely for the district. The web address to that is www.monroviaca.gov/adinfo. This web page will have plenty of information, including district background, the engineer's report for anybody who wants to read it, the timeline of the Prop 218 process, and an interactive map of the city that gives property owners the ability to look up their property and see how much they're currently paying in assessments and how much the proposed assessments will be for the next 5 years. You can look up by address, by APN, or by zooming in and clicking on a specific parcel. It's a really handy tool that we encourage property owners to check out. In closing, I'd like to provide our key takeaways this evening. A new combined district is being proposed to create a fair and financially stable structure to maintain the city's lighting, landscaping, and parks. The proposed district is supported by a certified engineer's report, and in order to reduce the financial impacts to the community, the City Council has decided to phase in the assessment rates over 5 years. This means the city will continue to subsidize the district for the first 4 years until assessments are fully phased in by 2031. At that point, rates are anticipated to fully cover the costs of the district. If the proposed district is approved, it will still be subject to completion of an engineer's report each year per 218 requirements. And if the proposed, and subject to annual proceedings. Again, if the proposed district is approved, the existing districts will be dissolved. If the proposed district does not get approved, the existing districts will remain in effect. So our recommendation this evening is option 1, which includes approving the engineer's report, declaring the intent to form the district, thereby setting the public hearing and approving the ballot process. This also establishes the procedures for written objections and authorizes the city manager to cast ballots in favor of the proposed district for city-owned parcels. Option 2 would be to reject the engineer's report and intention to form the district and levy the assessments and provide staff with further direction. And this concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Any questions? Any comments?
I have maybe just one question to start off. It's either on the assessment, what do we call it, the parcel-specific fact sheet?
Yes.
Or I guess you could use one of your other sheets that just went over what increase would be expected. Just if you could remind us, I think you've mentioned it before, what's for a residential less than 5, which is the majority of folks, what's the percent increase they'll probably be able to calculate in average? Like, what's that increase they're looking at?
Yeah, of course.
From their current.
From their current. So a majority of the parcels in the city are residential less than 5. 82% of the parcels are under that category. And for a lot of those properties, they're getting assessed about $71 currently. For the first year of implementation of the 5-year period, the average, and each parcel will be different, so that's something to keep in mind because of how the special benefit points are calculated. But on average, it's around $140 for that first year of implementation.
It's like double. Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? Great report, Ray. Thank you. If there are no other comments, questions, can we entertain a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution numbers 2025-47.
Was there, did we have public comment? I'm sorry. But was there anyone wanting to address this item this evening before we take a vote? Not seeing any, then proceed.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-47 and 2025-48.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Council members Belton,
Yes.
Jimenez.
Yes.
Spicer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Shevlin.
Yes. Thank you very much. That concludes our business this evening, and I do believe, yes, that is our last item in our agenda this evening. And again, I join in with all of our council members in stating that violence should never be the way to resolve anything, especially political violence. And there's that saying that let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me and every single one of us. At any rate, and hope that there are brighter days ahead for all of us. But in our adjournment this evening, I did want to close in memory of Joshua Nathaniel Rutherford, the brother of Mayor Pro Tem Tamala Kelly, and also her uncle, Arthur Binns, and we are with your family, and so sorry for your loss, and we hope that you get better real soon. I know you're here with us this evening, but I know that you've been struggling, so prayers and best wishes for getting healthy. And also Vanessa Yvette Coles, cousin of Community Services Commissioner Gina Mills, and Leif Lechuga Arnoldson, husband of fifth-generation Monrovian Jeannie Ann Lechuga Arnoldson. So with that, our hearts and prayers go out to all the family members, anyone that's hurting. And with that, then we are adjourned at 9:39. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.